Hello, fellow Whovians, generations of all kind. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Legend of the Traveling TARDIS. My name is Christian Basil. I am the host of this circus. And right now, if you haven't had a chance and if we've earned it lately, please go ahead right now, go ahead and subscribe. YouTube.com/the Legend of the Traveling TARDIS. Help our numbers go out. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe on our YouTube channel. That helps the algorithms go, so that people are paying attention and going like, hey, this is an awesome their show out there. And plus, if you haven't already, you can check us out also on Facebook.com/the Legend of the Traveling TARDIS. Look at that, 67,000 Whovian followers and growing. That is a big number. I don't know where you guys are coming from, but we love every single one of you, and we love that you join us out there. So if you get a chance, go to Facebook.com/Legend of the Traveling TARDIS, helping to make it grow. Our goal is to get 70,000 Facebook subscribers out there, and for whatever reason, if you're one of those folks, before it goes away, we're on TikTok at the Traveling TARDIS. So again, right now, just go ahead and subscribe. YouTube.com, the Legend of the Traveling TARDIS. Thank you so much for joining us. If you're not familiar with what we do, welcome. Today we do news, reviews, and interviews across the universe and beyond. And today we will be reviewing, as we move forward to the 60th anniversary, which will be taking place in November, starting David Tennant and Catherine Tate for the 60th anniversary. We're going back into episodes that we just never touched because if anybody knows the history of us, we started a day before Jodie Whittaker premiered as the 13th Doctor. And by some chance, we just never got to review episodes of what I'm now dubbing as ClassicNu WHO. So today we're going to be reviewing Dalek. This is the first appearance of the Daleks, coming back in the 2005 continuation series, starring Christopher Eccleston as the Ninth Doctor and Billie Piper as Rose Tyler. Let me go ahead and take this down so you can see the team for yourself and who's going to be helping out today. We're going to go ahead and we'll start out with introducing our panelists today. Speaking of, well, I don't know of a good segue, Dave, so there you go. Dave Chapman, the rathole.ca. Go ahead to the link tree /therathole.ca or check him out on his YouTube channel. He's putting out content. If you love board games, this is the man to go to. And if you can check out all the stuff that he's got right behind him. How you doing, Dave?
All sorts of fun stuff, including some new fun dice. Your Christmas tree die.
Wait a minute, you like a close up of that dice? I just want to see what's going on with that. That looks awesome. Seriously, wow. Okay.
Keeping in mind, I mean, it's embedded in there, which is why it's not spinning very well.
And how do you know what number is what?
There is an arrow right here, or you can just kind of go.
Oh, okay.
However you want. Really, it's a novelty die, but I had the chance to pick that up, and I also grabbed these both from him. And maybe I have not opened this very intentionally. Okay. Maybe during the after party, if I'm still alive. I'll open those up for you to take a look. But
if I didn't read that right, just in case people listening, the ornate mystery dice,
metal mystery dice.
Okay, so that's what
David was
showing for that. Speaking of more fun, he came back for another round, and he's joined us here at the Legend of the Traveling TARDIS, Mr. Nick Smith of the Cosmic Mask. How you doing there, Nick? Welcome.
I'm doing great. I'm in Nashville, Tennessee today. Last week I was in Florida. This week I'm in Tennessee.
What are you doing in Tennessee, if you don't mind me asking?
I am making movies here. So one of the things I do when I'm not editing Cosmic Mask is making films.
Now, if you're not familiar with the Cosmic Mask, and we'll be putting links out to that on the Traveling TARDIS. Dave and I have been contributors to the Cosmic Mask. How would you relate this to the Doctor Who Appreciation Society? I just want to make sure I follow that pattern right, Nick. Where's it?
Yeah, Cosmic Mask started off as one of their zines back in the 80s as a fiction zine. But since then, it's expanded. So now we have nonfiction, we have your articles, we have art, we have commentary, reviews. So it's just got bigger and bigger, kind of like the show.
Gotcha. Speaking of which, Mark Robinson, the Candyman, and everybody's going, they're saying their hellos. Welcome, Andrew, and all the team out there. Dan from the Last Man Standing. And speaking of fantasy, You like that segue, Mackenzie Floor? Shebang! There you go.
Segue. What's going on?
Hey,
Mackenzie
everyone.
Floor, the Right of Wands, and also I almost said it, the Binge Watcher's Guide to Doctor Who, because I almost slipped up again for the umpteenth time and almost said the Hitchhiker to Doctor Who. Mackenzie Floor, check her out on her Twitch channel, twitch.tv/Mackenzie Floor. Mackenzie, how are you doing? Yep.
I'm good. Can't
How's her-
complain, though. Chat might not be happy with me by the end of this episode, but yeah.
Why would I not be happy? Well, I'm always happy when you're on, Mackenzie. Come on. Especially when you kick my butt on that, that Worlds Apart game. Like Mortal
Which I
Kombat.
actually have. My Twitch is asking when we're going to play again. So I have a request out there. Somebody wants us to
We're
play.
working on it. It's just, and it's nothing personal, team. It's just trying to get us all together at the same time. And usually we try to do it like one weekend. We'll just be like, hey, we're going to get together and play this game. So we try our best. We'll work on it. And as we are approaching, for people who don't know what we're talking about out here, Doctor Who Worlds Apart, you can sign up for free. There's the link down there. But for those of you on the radio, Doctor Who-Worldsapart.com/r/4276. You can actually forget that last part. That's just my referral code if you want to help me out with getting cards and stuff. But that's the referral code down there, and you can play for free any given time as long as you can find somebody out there. And there's a competition going on as we speak. Speaking of competition, Kevo is not here, but we do have his better half. We've got Nico. From Husbands Talking More or Less. How you doing there, my friend? My goodness, it's been a long time. It's been so long you grew a mustache.
Yeah, it's been so long. Now there's a mustache, full on dad look. It's been so long now we're X's for show, which it's right here, right behind me. And I'm hanging out next to the incredible Jinx Monsoon, who I just can't wait to see on Doctor Who. And of course, we'll be talking all about that because we are ridiculous Drag Race fans and also ridiculous Doctor Who fans. So it's kind of like a 2-for-1.
Apparently, Jinx and RTD are festively dressed behind you. What's up?
Well, okay. So here's the thing. My incredible better half, Kevo, was like,
X's for show. There you go.
Right? He was like, "Look, I'll make you a background," and I was like, "Nah, I got Jinx. I'm gonna just hang with my girl, and everything's gonna be good." And I did not notice the Christmas till Kevo was like, "Oh, it's not that Christmassy except the hat," and I was like, "Oh, my hat looks Christmassy."
Nice. And are you happy? Just like the rest of us, we are now going to be getting a Christmas episode from what we hear. I'm excited about that. That's supposed. It still hasn't been like I haven't seen anything written in concrete as of yet, but supposedly after the 60th anniversary with David Tennant, he's going to regenerate and become Ncuti Gatwa. However, that's going to work, and I believe Ncuti's going to premiere as our Christmas present this year for everybody. So. We got a new Doctor coming, the 15th Doctor. I can't keep counting with them these folks anyway.
Jingle bell, master smells.
Robin laid an egg.
Like trying to count Final Fantasies now. Sometimes there's like an asterisk that says this one also has a number 2 after it. Don't forget Doctor Who Mystic Quest. You know, it all gets very involved.
Okay. Speaking of very involved, here's the reason why you're here. Today, we're going to be reviewing Dalek. This was written by Rob Shearman, one of my favorite writers. And let's just say I know some things ahead of time, and I'm just like, a little worried about what's going to be taking place here as far as the ratings are concerned. But hey, you know what? It's everybody's opinion, and we appreciate everybody's opinion here at the Legend of the Traveling TARDIS. So, but I'm always right. Anyway, so without further ado, all the way down to the left, and perfect timing. I put that banner up just for that.
Left, right. Okay, whatever.
There we go. Audio. All the way down. Well, all the way down to your right. My left is the lovely Mackenzie. Melanie Dean. How you doing there, Melanie? Welcome.
Hi. Hello, everybody. Sorry I'm late. Traffic across the bridge was fun. So I was like, I need to go. Also, work was fun. So anyway. Hi, everyone. Sorry, I jumping in here late, but I cannot wait to talk about this episode.
You got it. Don't forget to check out Melanie on Instagram. She puts out live feed showing you what she's doing at Pieces of Melee on the IG. So don't forget
On
to
Instagram.
check out Melanie on there. On the Instagram out there.
I'm terrible. I have to be focused on one social media thing at a time. Because I used to be really good. I'd be like, oh, I could do my Twitter account, then I could do this and I could do this. But then I get hyper fixated in one thing. And if I get more and more engagement there, then I tend to kind of go, ooh, people, I'm going to stay over here. Even though I know if I open it up and go, oh, I'm going to go over here on Twitter more, I'll engage more and get more people. But then I'll just have two shiny things to take my time. So yes, Instagram is where I'm living at the moment.
Love the song Rev Black Bach Rocks. I'm missing something. All right.
I'm dancing to it right now.
Okay.
Everybody by Black Box.
Okay. Oh, okay. Got it. Okay.
It's just uncool.
You went backwards on that.
It's a defining 90s house anthem, you know?
Alicia, how you doing there? And don't forget right now, when you get a chance, go ahead and put in the chats right now your number between 1 and 10. Remember, 1 is not so good. And Mark is already putting up his numbers, and we'll be showing you your numbers as we go through the panel. When we're going to, again, 1 is not so good. 10 is best episode ever. Yep, I see it. Yep, it's coming. Yep, for those of you not familiar,
I was going to try to get
cat alert. Yep, anytime we see a cat, the cat alert goes up there. And let's see. There we go. Mackenzie, for everybody.
The difference is I do that cat alert on my Twitch, except it goes meow, meow, meow.
Mackenzie, just in case people are new to the channel, who just walked off the screen and is going to be walking back on in just a second.
That is my beautiful kitty cat Paws, who just turned 12 a couple days ago.
Awesome. Happy birthday, Paws.
Happy birthday, Paws.
And she's notorious for coming. Normally when I stream, she's always here. I think there's only been one stream where she hasn't been present.
So for those of you who just knew, if there's a cat on the screen, shout out, put it in the chats. Traveling TARDIS cat alert has to go up. And that's my Beaker. And he is a very senior 19 from what I understand. Yeah, he's up there. And he's doing okay for being 19, but you know, we take good care of him, and he's not impressed with the traveling TARDIS right next to him. So there you go. Out there. So before we go to a commercial break, let's go ahead and get the numbers of our panelists. We're going to start with the lovely Melanie Dean. What did you rate between 1 through 10 on Dalek?
Fun fact: it's the same number as two of our commenters and commenting people and regulars in our chats, and that's Andrew and Mark with 9.
Got it. 9. Mr. Dave Chapman, what would you rate Dalek?
8.
Oh dear. Yes, that means I'd go after him. Okay. And I'm not fibbing on this one. I really do mean 9. I'm not going to cut it in half and be subversive. I'm
changing it. 9.1.
Oh, jeez. I'm going to cut. Anyway, Nico, welcome back. What's your rating for Dalek between 1 and 10?
A comfortable 7, thank you.
Comfortable 7. And we got X is for show for an 8 for posterity.
Hey, that sounds like a familiar program. Hey, X is for show. You seem pretty cool.
Hi, Kevo. Mr. Nick.
Is he legally obligated to say so?
Yes.
I'm going to go with an 8.
Got it there. And the lovely Mackenzie Floor. How would you round this up?
Well, I'm going to throw a monkey wrench into this because at the time I would have rated it an 8. Now it's a 6.
Okay, you're gone.
I didn't do that. You saw my hands on the screen. Okay, so fun fact.
I knew that was going to happen.
Okay.
Mackenzie rates it a 6. Okay, without further ado.
Christian's going to be around where I am. You know it.
Well, what we're going to do is, if you're not familiar with how we do the rating and how we do our review, the lowest number will go first. Melanie, what do you think? Commercial break, and then we'll go ahead and start things off?
Yeah, you're already at 17 minutes. And
you got it there. All right, so we're going to head with commercial break. When we return, we're going to be going over our review, and Mackenzie's going to... Andrew says bye, Mackenzie. Rep says I got to rethink this. When we return, please don't forget to put in your chats, and you can comment what you thought about the episode. Put your rating in. When we return, we will be back. Please continue to stay logged on, tune in, and by the way, just in case, I'm going to put this up for those of you who haven't seen Class.
That close to a commercial, y'all. That close.
Why do you even have handcuffs? Spoilers.
Meet the Doctor.
I'm the Doctor.
But not the one you were expecting.
All right, sexy. It's time to go home.
Doctor Who Velocity. Streaming now.
Oh, brilliant! It's hard to believe that in the 56-year history of the greatest sci-fi television show in the English language, there has never been a fan guide to Doctor Who. The official books might give you what they think you need to know, but only a guide written by a true fan will give you what you really want to know. Join Whovian, the brilliant Mackenzie Flaw, as she takes you on an intensive journey.
We are a touring acoustic duo crashing kitchens around the country.
Oh, brilliant! It's hard to believe that in the 56-year history of the greatest sci-fi television show in the English language, there has never been a fan guide to Doctor Who. The official books might give you what they think you need to know, but only a guide written by a true fan will give you what you really want to know. Join Whovian, the brilliant Mackenzie Flaw, as she takes you on an intensive journey inside the world of the first female Doctor. In the Binge Watcher's Guide to Doctor Who, Season 11. Right, let's get a shift on.
We are a touring acoustic duo crashing kitchens around the country. We go from house to house every Friday night and we create music, we create food, a good time, we stream it live and we do it for free. So now we're just really kind of like trying to develop it and build a community group that people believe in, then they'll help us. So we played from our rehearsal room, we played from the bathroom, thankfully that didn't catch on.
I probably played guitar in my room, not for anyone, in front of anyone, nobody heard, for probably about 10 years.
And then one Friday night we played from the kitchen. It's the main place people want to be. It's where the food is, it's where the drink is, it's where the best lighting is. You can go to any party and I guarantee you the kitchen is going to be popping.
Our ultimate goal, I think, would be to crash kitchens every Friday all around the world.
All I am saying is StreamYard is very, very sensitive about it. I accidentally hit the mouse. It was hovering over the commercial for Kitchen Killers, and it triggered it. I'm like, thanks a bunch. And well, thank you, folks. Welcome back to the Legend of the Traveling TARDIS. My name is Christian Basil. I'm here with Nico, Nick, Mackenzie, Dave, and Melanie, and we are going to be here to review the episode called Dalek, written by Rob Shearman and directed by, and I think I get this wrong, Ahrens? I think that's what the episode was. Joe Ahearne. I believe that's how he pronounces his name, so I apologize. That was not...
I was driving on a bridge. I had no time to get anything printed out, so I would be.
No, that's fine there. And I'm only going to say it's this was written by one of my favorite Big Finish writers. Hello, me. Where did that come from? Okay, somebody is me playing me. Okay. So, of course, if you've just joined us, we're going in order of he was trigger happy, of course. The lowest score, which belongs to Mackenzie. Mackenzie, you gave Dalek the lowest score, the 6. What happened?
Well, I'll be honest, it just doesn't live up to what the other Dalek episodes do now. When I was watching it, it took me thinking about like Picard season 3, where we had the Borg we've seen Borg over and over and over in Star Trek, but using that as an example is how in season 3 they did a thing with the Borg that made it just there's one Borg, but yet she causes destruction across the entire universe. And while this is a good episode because we're going into the reboot of the reboot of Doctor Who, essentially here. It sets up a good backstory. We know that the Doctor has gone through a terrible ordeal because his people have been killed and the Daleks were also obliterated. And then he finds that this one particular one is there. It it's great for that. And Eccleston is fantastic, especially because he puts his all into the episode with what he was dealing with his dad at the time. So you can feel the Doctor's turmoil through Eccleston. But if I have to compare it to like the newer episodes that we have with the Daleks, it just, for me, I was bored. I mean, I'll be honest. I was just bored.
Really?
I was so bored. I'm like, this really didn't feel, it just didn't have the intensity that some of the newer ones do. And it just, I don't know, it doesn't do it for me anymore.
And just in case for our audience who may not be familiar, what was going on with Christopher Eccleston's dad during this time?
At this time, his dad was very, very ill. And this is also during the time when the BBC was starting to, behind the scenes, starting to blackmail Eccleston. So he was already dealing with a lot of things. And shortly after this, I believe his dad may have passed shortly after this episode, or maybe around this time of the episode. So he was very emotional. Eccleston in general was dealing with anxiety and depression. So he was able to channel all that and put it into the character of the Doctor. And I really appreciate that he was able to do that.
That's cool. So then we get the sixth there. And we do, as you mentioned, we do get a little bit. Oh, hello, Brian Buress. Check him out on his YouTube channel, Dr. Freedom. He puts out content every morning and in parking lot. But it's Doctor Who News. What was it called, Melanie? What does he call it? The Tales from the Parking Lot, I believe.
Yes, because he works such an early shift and has a commute that when he gets to work, he's like, well, let's utilize our time efficiently. And he does some fun rants from the parking lot. So it's all dark behind him. He's in his driver's seat. He's parked. Everything's safe, so you don't have to worry about that. But no, some of them are really, really fun because I know he's got that sleepy tired where he's plenty awake because he's driven and he drove to work. He might have driven on autopilot. Don't worry, Brian, I still love you. Because I do that all the time. I'll get in the car. I'm like, how did I get to work? Oh, I only drove 25 miles. But yeah, so they're good rants. They're morning, they're the kind of a little bit, maybe that little sleepy. The coffee hasn't really kicked in yet. Rants. Sometimes they have. They're great little things. So go check them out.
Have you been driving?
Dr. Freedom on YouTube.
And I got a question for everybody. Since you mentioned it, Melanie, have you ever been driving at one point and then your mind just kind of wanders? Next thing you know, you've actually covered the entire distance of what you were supposed to be covering. Like
it's called autopilot.
Yeah, I didn't know.
I learned about this when I was 16 years old at high school, where there's times where I'm like, how the heck did I make the 9 miles here? Until I had one teacher mention, she's like, oh, that's called autopilot. And I'm like, oh.
Highway hypnosis. Okay, I like that name, Nico. Highway hypnosis. Yeah, I will just get like on the beach line. The beach line is right next to my house practically. I'll get on there, and as soon as I get to Cocoa, I'm like, how did I get here? I'm like, yeah, it was like highway hypnosis. I do like
it's okay. That. In 25 years, we'll all have self-driving cars, so.
There you go. And
before we actually have a good, public transportation system,
we'll still be crashing into each other some ways. That's gonna be the fact. What were you saying, Dave? I'm sorry.
I managed to solve it for like long drives because I drive across the dang continent, right? I've got some friends do a podcast called The Read Along, and it's a book club for your ears, right? So they read a chapter of the book offline, and then they record themselves talking about it. So I'll grab the audiobook, listen to the chapter, listen to them. And if the audiobook's actually cut up properly by chapter, I'll pre-build the playlist. And that drastic change, in what I'm listening to every half hour, 45 minutes or whatever, clicks your brain back in with the added bonus of they're talking about what you in theory just listened to. And if you don't remember anything, time to pull over for a nap.
Yep.
Yeah. Right. I like that, Dan, and I believe Marco. It's like, there's a scene in Beverly Hills Cop 2, and one of the greatest lines in any movie I've ever heard. Are you driving this thing, or are you like using the force? I'm like, that's kind of what I feel like sometimes when I'm driving down like a long path, especially when I'm going to like Miami for sometimes when we used to do conventions down there, or I'm going to Tampa. It's just like I really don't know. I just astral project. Yeah.
I wish I could.
Yeah, me
it's called working remotely. I'm not allowed to do that.
Next item up for bids, our next highest number belongs to the gentleman who's been out for a while, just for a minute. Nico, Husbands talking more or less. Nico Action, and that's the Instagram, right?
Yeah, Nico Action is everything. Instagram, Tweeters, SoundCloud, legit everywhere. It's either X's for show or Nico Action. So I just do this. It's really helpful. Yeah, so I gave it a 7. And I'm gonna level, right? Okay. I'm like I am a cuddly villain guy. I don't love Daleks like they're he's so hot. I don't love Daleks like murder is so great. I love Daleks like, but wouldn't a plush Dalek be adorable, right? And so I'm here, super about this episode on the surface, but one of the things that this episode spent a lot of time doing was establishing a sense of meta self-referential understanding. The Doctor's been away for a period of time. This is a blind spot in his knowledge. It sort of acts as the fandom, which kind of became not in a critical negative way, but in a realistic way. It had to become greedy about what was available. You know what I mean? And so there is an extent to which this, I do. I have a plush Dalek and his name is Eggs. Because he says execute, right? So his name is Eggs, and I love him so much. I also have like a complete set of plush Xenomorph and Alien stuff because like that's my favorite thing ever is Alien. So I think this episode is great, but one of the things I think that hasn't aged quite as well is the promise that this episode laid out for an understanding of self-referential metafiction. There's a really great way in which the Dalek has become commodified by the environment of positive alien propaganda that the Doctor has helped to create. And so this commodified Dalek, as a result of the Doctor's involvement in this timeline, it kind of acts as a really great point that we could have used further down the line. The more the Doctor became involved with this version of Earth at this time, the more we saw this commodification of the Doctor's worst nightmares.
Right.
But it's a great setup that kind of goes nowhere. And then I would love it if all the Daleks went to Exeter for high school. That'd be great. But yeah. So I love the episode. It sets up a lot of stuff that, because there's ultimately no payoff in the course of the next 200 episodes, it just sort of feels like a lot of great setup that goes nowhere.
Okay.
No, that's fair because they could, when this was written, they were probably planning on Eccleston being around for longer, and then this was the. I can agree with you on that. Absolutely.
I think it left it to. I think this was. I don't want to say that this was a one-off, but I think it was a teaser to bring in the Daleks back. That we knew that the Daleks were coming back. This was the appetizer to what things were going to be like moving on. And even though Mosquito has to die.
He's drunk.
No, Mosquito has to die here.
Sorry.
I'm not drunk.
Right.
Shush. I kind of think it was kind of the teaser. I don't think they knew what to do with the Daleks after this episode, or what they were planning on doing. It was a great Rob Shearman episode as far as I was concerned. But as far as building out to what the Daleks would eventually become over the 5 or 6 regenerations that the Doctor has had or is going to have, I don't know if they had exactly a path. This just felt like right to me. By the way, what Nico refers to as tasty, if anybody knows this, we actually have a connection to the Mummy through Corey Johnson. This is Corey Johnson out here. He was also seen in Saving Private Ryan, but I think he had a very short role. I got to watch it again as David in The Mummy. So I just thought it was cool that we had a connection to the Mummy through this gentleman right here. I don't see him much in anything else. I see him like in one-off and stuff like that. Usually he's the minor character, but to see him in a major, what I consider like a major role as the major bad guy, I thought it was cool. I thought he did an excellent job. Nico, I'm just extending on that. How did you feel about Van Staten? I'll open that up to the team as well as the chats. What do you think about Corey as being the bad guy in this?
I think that something that he really brought was a fallible humanity in contrast to the Doctor's. Even 9 has a polish to him. He's like the polished version of the sloppy uncle. And Van Statten really represented a sense of malice within the humanity that the Doctor is always seeking to protect. And without that access point to sort of the corruption of man, you really couldn't get to the Doctor's moment of becoming like the Daleks, right? And it's just sort of standard that if a guy's got a mustache and a thick neck, he can play evil. So, it's a really good visual cast.
That's the next master.
Having as also a mustache, neck, bald man, I get the you want to play Sweeney Todd a lot, so I get it. But yeah, I think he provided a counterpoint to the Doctor's savingness that made the Doctor's questioning being, these people worth saving, really accessible.
I like Andrew said. He was a bit of an evil Elon Musk before Musk was famous out there. I do like, I'm just going to put this picture back up real fast. There's a painting of him behind
so terrible.
him. It is so terrible, but
Yeah.
I kind of think that this is
It's
the kind of guy.
though.
That was called somebody that's the stage that's a scenic artist that was told paint this and going, I haven't done a portrait in forever. But apparently I have to get this done in the next 4 hours.
Because
So
the
here we
technique's
go.
not terrible. It's really not. If you look at the block shading, like right above the eye, and then a little bit of the color work on the lower cheek, there's some really good extension. If you look and compare his eye line to the eye line here, well, the brows are a little bit off. If you look at the undershadow of the left eye and the right eye, like there is some good attention to detail here. It's just unfortunately, ugly.
I was just going with that thing was done fast because that for me that was a look how much time I spent doing this face. Screw it, we're gonna put a white scarf. That's like maybe a scarf, maybe an ascot. We were gonna start with something, but I gotta hurry this up. And I mean, look at the size of that lapel. I mean,
maybe his neck giblets came out wrong. We don't know.
That is a captain on a sea
We got some
vessel
artists in the
style
chat.
lapel. That's a peacoat.
Got some artists on the panel. And for those of you on the radio side of things, we're actually, if you remember the scene where Van Statten is standing up holding the musical instrument that the Doctor's playing and goes, no, it just looks silly. He's playing the musical instrument. I thought that was a great scene between them because the Doctor's showing compassion in this device that's a musical instrument. He's even telling Van Statten, hold it, don't hold it that way. It looks silly. This is how you play it. And when Van Statten goes, he starts to mess things up still when he's playing, and then he finally gets it. And what's he do? He throws it away as if it's nothing. And the Doctor takes offense to that. It's just like, dude, that's a beautiful instrument. It's like throwing a piano across the room. It's like, no, why would you do that? But to me, that really impressed me about the evilness of Van Statten, for a better term. Plus, he's got a picture of himself behind him, so that's usually your evil doer type deal. They always got a portrait of something there. Do we have time? Yeah, we have time. So we got Nico, we got Mackenzie. So the next up is a tie. So without further ado, I'm going to roll a dice.
Ooh.
And Dave, you're up. So Dave rated it an 8. Nick will be next as he rated an 8 too. But Dave, tell us why you rated this an 8. What missed the mark and what was good about it?
I don't like the Daleks. Now,
ouch!
Let me clarify that.
Ouch!
Daleks have been overused, and they have to be contractually so they don't lose the rights to be able to keep using them.
Dave, somebody has something to say. Dalek howl. So, yeah.
And the Daleks exterminate more Daleks.
Clearly, he loathes them.
Like they're the Borg of Doctor Who. They're just overused. But this episode was the first time they'd been back, rebooting the Daleks as well. This is the last Dalek. This is the last, But he was also had been around for a very long time, which made things a little weird. Yes, sack me.
Yeah, for those who are on the radio, the Candyman told sack Dave.
All right, well,
the other Candyman.
But I think it was really, they did a very good job of the terror that Daleks are supposed to be, which kind of, and they almost went too far. Like it was kind of mentioned during the thing. It's one Dalek wrecking absolute havoc over everything like no Dalek has before or really since. We got to see it fly for the first time in a very long time. It was Mark pointed out that it wasn't the first time they hovered, but nevertheless, I do like they addressed, haha, stairs are going to defeat you. Oh no.
And you're like, oh, Ed 209. Nope.
Yeah. And how many times do you see the Daleks be smart enough to use the water as a conductor?
Yeah.
To zap a whole bunch of people rather than just going pew, 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 you're all dead. Just pew. And that's smart. Like that Dalek was an above average on so many levels.
Mm-hmm.
And there are a few of those that have cropped up over the years where individual Daleks that are just better. And this was one of them.
I got to agree to that, especially when, the Daleks are supposed to be the most dangerous creatures in the universe, and that Dalek proved it by outsmarting the humans. He just said, no, I can do this in 2 shots. Bam, there goes the fire alarm with all the water going. Bam, bam, you're gone. 3 shots, 3 or 4 shots, I think he took them all out. All that army. And he thought of it, and he's just like, yeah. And I just love that they started the chats between the Doctor. One of the things I really do love, and as you mentioned, I'm sorry, let me read the chat. JWC says it showed the raw power of 1 Dalek, let alone 1,000. It showcased how dangerous they are. Yeah, correct. Yes. And I just want to go back a little bit on the relationship, as you mentioned. I think it was Mackenzie who mentioned the relationship between Eccleston and the Dalek. And he really put his heart into this. This could have gone any way. And I think this episode, Chris was really carrying this. I mean, I think we also get the first time we get to hear Nick Briggs as a Dalek operator.
Yep.
So this is his first outing as being the Dalek. So they're having to work together to put this scene. And to tell you the truth, I think it's one of the most finest scenes in Doctor Who. If I were to put a top 5 list and say, show me the scene that is Doctor Who, these 2 were it. And that's just my opinion on that. But this was hugely carried by Christopher Eccleston. He really convinced us that that was the most dangerous thing in the universe from his reaction, the way that you could see the Time War affected him. And now he's seeing that everything that he did to wipe out both his people and the Daleks was in vain, because there's still 1 cockroach still running around in the universe. Luckily, he was chained up. But you also saw the big fear in his eyes when he first saw it. He thought he was going to get exterminated. And then at that moment of relief, when he finds out the gun doesn't work, he's just letting everything out on there. The great big dustbin, or whatever we call it. And he's really throwing it out as far as emotion, as far as acting, and all of that. He's just walking around the Dalek like, haha, I'm here and you can't hurt me type deal. So I love this scene, to tell you the truth. It's one of my favorite scenes out there. But speaking of which, speaking of scenes, we got a commercial break. When we return, we'll go ahead and wrap up our discussions about Dalek. Don't forget to get into the chats and tell us what you think about Dalek. As we return, please continue to stay logged on, tuned in, and become part of the legend. We'll be right back.
You have more options than ever before when choosing a film, a television or internet series, a book to curl up with, or even a radio show or podcast. Get to know the people who are creating for you. The Hangin' With Web Show, hosted by award-winning author and journalist G.W. Pomacher, is the internet's fastest-growing web talk show series. The Hangin' With Web Show features professional, yet casual, in-depth interviews with creative arts and entertainment pros. Meet the people behind a digital revolution in creating more quality content than ever before in the history of media. Find the Hangin' With Web Show on YouTube, Facebook, or Twitter, or simply go to www.hanginwithshow.com. That's www.hanginwithshow.com. GINwithshow.com.
Famous Faces and Funnies in Melbourne, Florida is leading the way in pop culture fun. From comic books and graphic novels to Funko Pops and collector's items, Famous Faces and Funnies has it all. Rick Shea and the professional team at Famous Faces and Funnies are friendly and knowledgeable. Whether you're looking for toys, props, collector treasures, or a new comic book, Famous Faces and Funnies is your one-stop shop. To find Famous Faces and Funnies on Facebook and Twitter, just type at FFF Comics.
Hi, my name is Jamie Engel, critically acclaimed author of The Toilet Papers, Places to Go While You Go, a short story collection suited to match your bathroom needs. Only have to go a little? No problem. I've got stories under 1,000 words for you. Far from poopin'? I've got you covered, with stories over 5,000 words to keep you occupied, while your latrine stays occupied. And that's not all. The Toilet Papers is endorsed by the fine folks from Squatty Potty, the stool for better stools. But don't take my word for it. See what Dookie the Squatty Potty unicorn has to say on YouTube. You won't be disappointed. Well, I've got to go, but you can grab your copy of The Toilet Papers on Amazon in ebook or print, or get an autographed copy from me at therightangle.com. And don't worry, I promise I'll wash my hands first. The Toilet Papers. You might just stay in the bathroom longer than you need to.
And next up, as we are reviewing Dalek, my name is Christian Basil, host of The Legend of the Traveling TARDIS, Dave Chapman, Melanie Dean, Mackenzie Floor, Nick Smith from The Cosmic Mask, and Nico from Husbands Talking, more or less. And don't forget, if you love these banners, if you love these, actually I should say not banners, but thumbnails, his husband Kevo puts these together, and he puts them really fast. So if you want to reach out to him, the link is in the description to their podcast, and you can reach out through them in the description in the chat, and in the description in the section. We are... What's that thing? Oh, yeah. I try to take care of my peeps as best I can. Speaking of taking care of people, Nick, you're up. You also talked about and rated it an 8 for the review for Dalek. What did you think? What happened? Where did it go wrong?
Oh my goodness, there's so much to say about this episode. It has so much heavy lifting to do, so much setup. I mean, the Cyberman head that we find in this collector's museum, you could see it as an Easter egg, but it's far more than that. Yeah. They are putting a slitheen arm right next to it, saying our new monsters belong in this pantheon. You're watching the old show that you love with a new kind of sheen to it. We're setting up the idea that the Doctor would make a good Dalek, which is expanded with the 10th Doctor, that the Doctor is a warrior, he's a killer, which obviously the Doctor does not like to see. We've got Henry Van Staten. Now, you know, the Doctor's being compared to the Dalek, but here's Henry torturing the Doctor or examining him with this very Dalek gun-like
scanner thing. Yeah.
Yeah, so there are comparisons there made with, are humans better than Daleks? Does Henry Van Staten deserve to live? And that's left to the audience to decide. This is almost like a greatest hits story as well. We've got the human factor given to a Dalek, as in Evil of the Daleks. We've got his gun not working, as in Death to the Daleks. We've got the Doctor warning the people how terrible this Dalek is. It has to be destroyed, as in Power of the Daleks. So, you know, really, Rob Shearman's a great writer. He's taken these little bits that the fans will recognize and love, but also reintroducing the Daleks for a brand new audience. The Daleks were a joke. You know, up until then, you know, when the classic show finished, we'd see the Daleks pop up in, you know, newspaper cartoons or comic strips being made fun of. The Tory government in England were portrayed as Daleks, the way they talked, you know, the way they were so mean. So really, Rob is making the Daleks badass again. That's his real job here, to make them menacing, scary, and setting things up for later episodes. I couldn't give it a 9 or a 10 because the effects don't hold up. This is the same year that Revenge of the Sith came out. Different kind of budget, but really the technology was there to do incredible things with effects. So I'm not sure what happened there, but the story is great. I do like this episode a lot.
Gotcha that there. I do like the fact that, like you said, there's a sparring off between the Dalek and Christopher. I think this is one of the great moments of the show out there, and it really puts it. And I think it's nicely done. What Rob did was to have this confrontation. Two of the mightiest warriors of the last of their kind are together in a room together, who have had so much hatred towards each other. How are they going to react? How are things going to pan out between the two of them? And I think it was just beautifully done out there. Melanie, you're up. You rated it a 9. Almost perfect.
Almost perfect. Okay, so I rated it based on watching it when I watched it. Even though I'm doing a rewatch, I tried to make sure not to compare it to later episodes. Again, that was just based on my rating, and everyone could, do as you want. For me, I really like the fact that for this one with the Dalek, this is the first time we saw a Dalek, and we saw a Dalek in New Who that being reintroduced. So if you have a new fan base that's not used to Daleks and maybe never saw a Dalek, or like watching the Classic Who, or for me, it had been so long since I had watched, as a child, Tom Baker and Daleks and all that kind of stuff. So trying to watch it again, going, oh, I think I remember these guys. I don't remember much about them except, evil bad guys. So, okay. I loved how when Eccleston first gets in there, that man is freaked out. He is as many explicatives as you want on this. That man is scared. And it's the Doctor. And he is, he wants out. He starts banging on that door, realizes they locked him in there.
Right.
All that stuff. He thought, like, to your point, he thought he was going to get exterminated. He went, no. And you could see all this, the vitriol starts coming out when he realizes he's safe. And that, okay, well, now I could turn my anger on you. Here we go. And for me, I think even if the audience did know what a Dalek was at this point or during New Who, that span between 8, the movie, which at this point you're like, is it canon? Is it not canon? I don't know. And now you don't know, where are the Daleks? What is going on? What is the Ninth Doctor's backstory and all that kind of stuff? So this is starting to kind of give you those inklings of what happened, where like in some, I don't know what it's called. So Mackenzie, if you know the terminology for the writing device that this is, when you're not explicitly saying what had happened, but you're trying to fill those gaps in and you're inferring to things that happened in the past to kind of catch the audience up, or to at least give them like little breadcrumbs of going, hey, we're gonna delve into this a little bit more, or we're gonna delve into this a little bit more here. So it's kind of trying to make this back. It's kind of
foreshadowing.
Not foreshadowing, because foreshadowing would be what's going on in the future. This is trying to infer a backstory.
Yes.
And that I thought they did really, really well. To Nico's comment about that they did all this and then didn't really do much. If they were foreshadowing anything later, that didn't really there was no culmination at the end of that part. But I almost wonder if that was, maybe they would have done something if, Eccleston stuck around and blah, 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 blah. But I think they really, for me, the focus on this was, hello, audience, this is a Dalek, and you should be afraid. Mm-hmm. And Eccleston really put everything in him. He put his entire heart into that scene. And you could see where, as other people have already commented on, he took all that anger, all that emotion that he was going through personally, what he was going through professionally, and he just channeled it into that and just was, you saw, look at his eyes, look at the glazing of that, all that emotion's boiling up where it's coming into a physical manifestation where it's actually coming out. So it was just amazing.
No, this is the just for the radio audience. This was the moment that that the Ninth Doctor believes that Rose is dead. I believe, that's the moment that he hears the weapon go off, and he's just.
He has those points a few times when he sees the Dalek, when he hears the weapon go off, and he thinks he just killed his companion, and then also when he's tied up and being, like a guinea pig, that kind of thing, where he's being practically tortured. He gets that again. So I mean, there's a lot of peaks and valleys in this, where in this particular episode we came from not far along, we had farting monsters, y'all. Okay, now we're having some heavy drama. What is this show? And this was the one that made me go, all right, fine, I'm all in. Okay, fine, we're gonna keep binging. I liked the fact that they utilized Rose to show compassion to the Dalek. That was something where here you've already gotten Eccleston, and he's pushed it. This is bad. This is evil. He's got such a raw, visceral, reaction to it. And then here's Rose seeing all that and be like, oh, but how compassionate she is, especially at this stage early in the character. Later on, she's going to keep growing and growing and growing. And that how her, that compassion, hello sci-fi, her touch kind of helped, rebuild it. It made it, back into the Dalek it is, and it kind of, kind of parasited a little bit of that compassion into it. And then, how it was just like, okay, at the very end where we see, spoilers of just, I can't do this, kill me, that kind of deal. I really loved it. I really thought that this was a great episode. I thought it was really well written. I liked all the different points to it, where it was how different it was than, again, farting Slitheen. So here I went from an episode that literally did turn me off from that, and then a couple later, boom! Oh my god, I'm a fan. Two things that keep me from giving it a 10, which is kind of funny. That after the fact, I found out was. I could not deal with Henry Van Statten's accent. And he's American, y'all. I'm like, that's American? That's a terrible American accent. This is just absolutely horrible. And then I go back and go,
he's giving
this
you the
is
eye.
what happens when you're surrounded by so many other people with a different accent. Your mouthfeel, your tongue is going to change a little bit. And that's why when you see people who travel, and if maybe you either expat or like expatriate, I can't even talk anymore, that you go and you live for a place for a while, you vacation, or you have to work for a little bit, that accent slowly slips away, and you can kind of hear people go, oh wait, where are you from? I'm not quite sure. So I almost wonder, like, because he's got a huge body of work. He went to school in London. He's got a gigantic body of work in London. He's won awards in London, or in British awards in the UK. So when he must have done that, I think he's like, okay, now go back into your normal American accent. Everybody else is like, oh, that's American. And meanwhile, I'm kind of like, what is that? That's terrible. And you're okay.
Jane leaves.
Well, kind of in his defense, Corey Johnson is an American actor, but he does most of his work in the UK.
Exactly. So they're like, oh yeah, just do your American one.
Jane Leaves on Frasier had the opposite problem. She's from the UK, came to the US, and when she played Daphne, put on a purposefully over the top British accent, and people were like, oh, that's so fake. And she's like, that's the point.
Yeah. Because she would have just slipped right back into that,
like a real, not funny dialect. Yeah. And so
I thought there was appeal because they're in Utah. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, this is the first episode we're taking place now in America.
Yeah.
And it's an underground bunker, supposed to be 20 levels below.
And again, this is Doctor Who coming back. They were not, yes, it was a broadcast for an American audience also, that they were thinking, worldwide, and they were thinking more, distributorship. But it was more, unless this is about, Brits getting Who back. They're not going to be that crazy of, oh, does that sound like an American accent? Yeah, of course. Keep going. Yeah, move along. It sounds perfectly right.
Syndrome.
Yeah, exactly. It's like,
it's
cool.
You've never seen America.
Yeah.
Exactly. But the other, what was another part that I was like, oh, Adam. It was kind of.
I was hoping we'd get to him.
it was neat in that it finally, it for me, it showed me that I'm trying to think how to articulate it, that the Doctor can have more than one companion. And I'm like, oh, well, that's kind of cool that you can kind of have more companions. Now, me rewatching it, I was kind of thinking, oh my God, I wonder I wonder if people who were Whovians, were Brits, were watching this and thinking, oh, we're going to get a little bit like of a Harry Sullivan kind of thing, like a Sarah Jane, Harry Sullivan. We're going to get more, we'll get more people. But it's Adam. And Adam wasn't that great. And we'll go into more episodes where I just love the fact that it's more later on where the night Doctor keeps chiding Rose of what's going on with your boyfriend there. That he's just not, the boy ain't Swift. So whatever device he was going to be, if it was meant to be just, oh look, hopeful, young, brilliant kid wants to go see the stars, this is awesome. Rose is like, oh, that would be the perfect opportunity to you. And he's a moron, so he falls flat on his face. Anyway.
He's a moron.
Oh, Adam. So we are introduced to Adam. So yeah,
Adam.
9. I'll give it a 9. I liked it. I love it. I'm happy.
Or as some of my friends call him, Adric 2.0.
Oh, poor Adric. So yeah.
So
9 for me.
Speaking of, this is probably worse segue. Speaking of Adric 2.0, for those of you who are listening on the audio, thank you for listening. If you want to get my take on the episode, join us on the Facebook page again, facebook.com, The Legend of the Traveling TARDIS. So right now, if you want to see my take and further discussions, Andrew is going, sheesh, what a way to put it out there. YouTube.com, The Legend of the Traveling TARDIS. We're up to 3,000 YouTube subscribers. Thank you so much out there. And also didn't mean to catch
go ahead.
And Facebook.com, The Legend of the Traveling TARDIS, 67,000. We're halfway up to 68. I'm very excited. A lot of people joining up over there. And speaking of audio, go ahead and join us. You can listen to us wherever you listen to your favorite podcast. iHeartRadio, sci-fi.radio. You can download the app for free. Odyssey, Spotify, Spreaker, Podbean, Player FM. You can put the chats back if I can read them. Thanks. A worse segue.
Don't challenge him.
Dan saying Adric 2.2 is fitting. Yeah. I will give my take in the after party. Everybody who's watching, please stick around. We'll go into further discussions as well as my take as far as the episode of Dalek's concerned. Everybody else, thank you for joining us. Please stay safe, become part of the legend, and we'll be right back. Thank you so much. All righty, so in the after party, here we go. So my take.
Here we go. Let's go.
Well, everybody's put their negative out there, and now that I've kind of put my number out there, let me get to the chats a little bit. Eric, Edward says Dalek was a great demonstration of how dangerous they are, and an amazing episode. It's been diminishing returns for the Daleks ever since. I 100% agree. It's kind of like the Weeping Angels. At some point, you just go like, okay, give them a break, put them down, bring them back, in a year or two when they haven't been super saturated and now have abilities that no mortal Marvel comic book character can have anymore. It's just like, no, I liked it when they just touched you to death and that was it. I thought that was scary as hell.
Mm-hmm.
Home Depot and Lowe's going out in the garden section. Thank you, Stephen Moffat, for freaking me out every time I go into those locations. That's about it. So after hearing everybody, I wanted to kind of drop my rating, and I don't. I'm going to try to stick to my guns. I gave it a 10. One of the very few episodes I'm going to give a 10.
You can be entertained. You're loud.
Says, Dalek had a creepy feel with the Dalek and evil human baddie. The deadliness of one Dalek. You would make a good Dalek, which is my favorite moment in that scene. There's tons of favorite moments, but the moment when you see Eccleston, this is just Tim's great take as far as going after the Dalek, and he's basically telling a Dalek, kill yourself. Off yourself. Can I say it on YouTube? I forgot if I could or not.
No, live yourself, I believe, is
the
appropriate YouTubeable.
YouTube, I didn't mean that in any other regards. The Doctor's telling the Dalek to go off himself. And what's
an evil monster that's going to be killed and that you kill in any other video game. Yes.
Right. And what's the best response written by Rob Shearman? You would make a great Dalek, and threw it back at him in his face.
I
where
remember
we
your
are
glue.
putting the tilt of, who is the real monster here in this whole story. Alluded to, it's the opposite.
I'm going back because when
okay.
I don't do the chats when I'm going. So
no, that's fine. That's fine. As far as things are concerned, one of the things that I kind of wasn't happy and I kind of was happy was Adam. This is the only episode I could really tolerate him, and he was only in 2 episodes, and this is the only one because it did feel like they were building up to hopefully a Harry Sullivan 2.0, which ended up being an Adric 2.0 in my estimation, because he was complaining. And I thought it'd be cool that Rose wasn't alone as the space traveler. She didn't have Mickey with him. Now she could bring in her quote unquote boyfriend, which we will later discuss. But Adam just got annoying. And he's a book smart kid, but not a street smart kid. And that's where the Doctor comes in. He's both. And I thought it would be great, and I don't want to go too far into things, but I thought it would have been great if Adam got the influence of the Doctor, like Rory and Mickey. He became his own.
Better.
They become better over time. But he just, and I can't really go on with him without saying the arc, but I don't like the direction he went. And it just made him just unbearable to watch after what happened and what took place. I do like the compassion of Rose, who has no experience with the Dalek. And she's seeing it from her new eyes and using her compassion, her humanity towards this creature who's suffering under the hands of humans, not knowing it's the most deadliest, sinister creature in the universe. Anyone else low volume? No, not that I'm aware of. I'm sorry, Feach. Don't insult Patrick. I felt his death. Yeah, I did. I felt his death. Adam, on the other hand, his leaving made me laugh.
Well, they snapped. The last thing they do is
they snapped
open up his little brain hole.
Yeah, the thing was, I didn't like Adric in classic series, but yeah, after his death, it's kind of like now I don't want to hate him anymore. Dan, how do you feel from The Last Man Standing? Check him out on his YouTube. I've raised my rating for this one on every rewatch because I kept noticing new layers to it. And that's what's great about Rob Shearman's writing. There's always layers in something if you look into it even more. And that's a great testament for like his Big Finish Audio's The Holy Terror and Scherzo. There's so many layers about this. Stick to your rating, Christian. It's a beautiful episode in many ways. I'm sticking with a 10 because one of the things that I allude to people when we talk about the Whovian starter kit, like if you were trying to get your friends into it, or when people ask, if hand over your heart, what is the best representation of Doctor Who to you? This is the episode I would go to. This is the one I would include in the starter kits. When somebody says, I want to start with Doctor Who, where would I start? I always tell them 2005 is go with the the reboot or whatever the hell they call it. But Dalek is the episode that I think it brought people in as to not only the big memory berry for classic Whovians who understood the Daleks, but now moved it into a new audience. And that little, I think it was Andrew or it was Mark who mentioned that, the elevation, oh God, this thing can't go upstairs, but we already did that in Remembrance of the Daleks. So for the older team, we were like, oh, we already know he can come upstairs. He should, I totally agree, Andrew. Rob Shearman should write more episodes. I don't know why they don't touch him, and they should.
He's not awake when they call. He's only awake between the hours of 2 and 4 a.m. UK time. So
we interviewed him on one of our episodes, and he was up.
He was a true night owl.
Wide awake. I'm just like, wait, this is like 2 in the morning. And he kept going. And if you ever get a chance to talk to him, he'll talk your ear off, but it's good stuff. It's always good stuff that he's talking about.
Non sequiturs.
I know.
Many non sequiturs.
He just goes off on tangents,
It's
and
so
it's
delightful.
I got to hear this. So, Nico, if you ever get a chance to listen to his stuff, or if you, I'll probably put the link of Rob Shearman's episode on here. But he goes off. He'll tell a story, then go off on another tangent, then go off another tangent, go back to the original story he was talking about, and he'll just come like
The whole time
but
you're
it's
just like,
all gold. It's all audible gold to listen to him out there.
That's awesome.
I do want. Let me go ahead and throw this out to the team and everybody in the chats, because it was, what did you guys think of Adam as far as being in there? If we were to exclude his next episode, just for him being in Dalek, and anybody can jump out on this, what did you think of Adam as a potential companion and how they introduced him into this series?
Unmemorable.
Mm-hmm.
It's so obviously like incomplete. I think it's hard to talk about without the second half.
Yeah.
In which case,
That's
every
what I'm having a hard
Adam
time
has
doing.
its David. You know, like
Yeah, and that's part of the reasons why I gave the episode for now a 6, because of one of the reasons, because that character just it's kind of like Danny, goes absolutely nowhere.
he at least offers them someone to be like, look, I know they look like they're going to serve you Dippin' Dots, but the Daleks are terrifying. Like, it's a person to talk to about it.
Well, I'm thinking because and this is a defense on the character, is because he's been down in that dungeon all this time. That's all he's known is new tech. And sometimes he goes out up there, but now she's telling him, wouldn't you like to go and see where this tech came from? And she's hinting to him, like, you could be a good companion for what's going on. The writer sounds like the perfect convention. Yes.
Yeah.
And if you ever been to one of his panels, traditional.
hand him the mic.
Yeah.
Walk away.
The traditional panel is like 45 minutes long. He can make it 3 hours. And you'll still be sitting there listening to what he has to say, because it is just
The panel monitor must just want to be going crazy.
Right, he's
they're
going like,
10 minutes, 5
yeah.
minutes, 4 minutes. Cut it. You could just see them literally getting that.
Robert Picardo's got this room next, and you're taking up space too. So he is just an amazing guy. But really, yeah. What was it? We had to split up the episode. Mackenzie, I think you were there with that episode, weren't you?
Yeah, I was.
Yeah, it was me and Melanie. We interviewed him, and I told the girls ahead of time. I said, guys, trust me. We're just going to ask one question. And it got so long, we actually had to cut the episode in 2.
This was pre-YouTube days. This was Skype.
This
was actual podcast
Skype,
time.
Yeah.
So this, if you like the audios, that will be actually in the audio down there. One of the things I loved about this was, we see them toying with each other over and over again when they make contact, when they're in the room together, where the Dalek's chained up, and then the moment that the Dalek brings on the monitors to make sure that the doctor sees what's going on, and he goes like, I'm going to show you what you just did. And that was a way of the Dalek taunting the doctor, but the doctor picking up a gun just outright, goes into there and goes lock and load. It's like, I felt like for the moment he threw the doctor name away.
He did.
He did.
Yeah, absolutely did.
I mean, we don't know that for another 10 or
we don't know that, but I was just like, he picked up the gun. It was like the last resort, but this was the last resort. But now that I've seen the 50th anniversary episode, I've seen the Day of the Doctor, this has so much more writing on it.
Oh yeah.
Because he had to connect the story between what should have been his predecessor, Paul McGann, to now John Hurt. So adding that layer that Moffat wrote for the 50th anniversary now makes, I think, this episode even stronger, because now we have a huge backstory. So I love revisiting this again, thinking about the time war was going on and his regeneration to Eccleston and the late great John Hurt. But yeah, this episode, this ending had so much more. He's walking out there and he's standing there. I do have the picture. And then Rose is right next to the Dalek, and he tells Rose, get out of the way. And she's standing right between them.
Mm-hmm.
And I love that. Here's a human telling you, hey, Time Lord Victorious, it's not going to work here.
Every other the previous episodes we've seen as an audience, he's he's more optimistic. There are parts where he's pessimistic, and he's like more real. There's a lot more realism. He's using a lot more cunning, intelligence, all that kind of stuff to in World War III, and he's not just passive and just running around like, oh, everything's fine. He's not that. I mean, he's hyper intelligent. He's a really neat doctor. And then you get this episode, and you're like, is this out of character? And you're like, no, this isn't out of character. This is a man who was just moving away, and all of a sudden I was like, well, so much for that. The peripheral has now gotten real. And he just was like, well, I guess I'm a warrior again, and just went right into it.
Yeah.
And then later on, as you keep going and going, and as to your point where Moffat adds the 50th into this, you realize that was the knee-jerk reaction of, oh, well, looks like, around and find out. Okay, we're going to go get the gun now.
Right. And we see the Doctor in his, the way that Eccleston has betrayed him. And I think it's almost a takeoff on future Doctors as well, as far as it's concerned. You see the Doctor in his happy mode because he saw a little device, and then the next moment, all hell's breaking loose. And he's, you can see the range of emotions, and I think that's all testament to Chris Eccleston having to take on a character like that, bring him into the new century, and we're seeing a different Doctor that I grew up with, but it's one that makes sense, is for better term, an evolution into what we do now, because now we are seeing the Time War, which Russell T threw in there, and it gives the Doctor more higher stakes to go on, because he's gotten through this war that we are slowly developing throughout his series a little bit more, and then we finally get the resolution more into the Day of the Dalek, the Day of the Doctor, the Day of the Dalek, that too. So I'm not gonna back down. It's a 10. When people ask, what's a good episode to start, this will be it. When people ask me, what's a good representation of Doctor Who as it is now, what it is then, this will be the episode I hand them. Because I think this is a combination of Rob Shearman, great directing by Joe Ahearne, and Christopher Eccleston and Billie Piper really getting into the mix, because you're seeing now the compassion between the Doctor when he's making you cry because you're laughing, and then you're crying because you're dying inside, and Billie Piper showing the human trait that keeps the Doctor stable. That's why he needs a companion. That's why when you see future Doctors now, the companion always has to be there to keep him grounded. When you see moments like when the 10th Doctor, he's alone in the TARDIS for the very first time, and he's taking off. There's no companions around him, and David Tennant does a brilliant facial. It's just like, show us what that emptiness looks like. And I think it's a testament to good writing. It's a testament to good directing. It's a testament to good acting. This is the perfect episode for me. Does it have its flaws? Yeah. Would I like to put Adam in a skewer and launch him into space? Yes. I didn't even see the need for Adam, with the exception of it looked like a potential Harry Sullivan, as you mentioned, Melanie. That would have been great if he would develop just like Rory and Mickey did over time. X's for show, I think Adam was meant to represent a failed companion. Yeah, I think that's what they did. But I think I've been too early in the show. And the reason why is I think we're still learning more about the Doctor and development. I think maybe the second or third season, that's when you can start experimenting with failed companions, or try to experiment even more. But when you're trying to get people involved and you bring something like Adam in, you're just going, well, what the hell is that? What was that? He was a one-off. And in my mind, wasn't really needed to develop things. Adam could have been just another character under Van Statten's minions, and it wouldn't have fazed me. And I don't think that's to the fault of, I think it's Bruno Langley who played the character. That's not the fault of him. He tried his best. I think it was just the direction he went. It was just like, okay, he's the boyfriend, okay, and course, like all boyfriends, just like Mickey, got to get rid of him because we want to keep the Doctor and Rose together. But that's
I know a character plot device that we're going to try to make sure that there's some sort of interplay between the two, the Doctor and Rose, and then jettison.
Go out into space. Well, I really didn't. I got a confession. I really didn't have too much on the after party. I knew we were going to be going along with Dalek because there was so much good stuff about that. But is there anything that anybody wants to add while we're here? There, Rebs, Raves, and Rants. The hashtag guru himself, Tom Kosak. Prisoner of Time was the last of his stories, and I liked it a lot. I got to agree also too, Andrew. Javik. What's that? I'm sorry.
Javik Thane.
Javik Peter Thane. Peter.
Oh,
Peter
okay.
Thane. I don't know what he was. He was probably answering one of your questions or something. That was
okay.
3 minutes ago.
I don't know if this is going to start a
Andrew,
discussion.
come in here and explain.
I don't know if this is going to start a discussion, but I brought this up as an idea. We could probably make it into an episode, depending upon how much the chat. And I was going and configuring what would be the difference between the War Doctor and Thanos. But we can do that for another time. I know.
Yeah.
Dave. Go for it, brother.
That's Jack's real name.
Oh, Jack's real name. Okay.
There we go.
Here, we'll just. Thank you.
So yes, ornate metal mystery dice. We don't know what's in here. On the box it says, contained within this box is a full matching set of 7 ornate solid metal dice.
Ooh.
Only the mightiest heroes can wield their power.
Oh, put it down.
You get in the box.
Instead of him goes, premium dice dwells within. Will you be the adventurer to obtain this quest's reward? Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun.
So I figure might as well open this up.
Go ahead.
These are dice from Dave has something to say. Dave always has something to say. Dave is running on much coffee and energy drinks. I am completely dead from
Yay. The coffee and energy drinks, not you being dead.
A week plus of like 12 to 18 hour days.
Was it Gen Con that just happened?
No, I had the Game Manufacturers Association.
Yeah.
Expo in Reno.
Yes.
And Calgary Comics Entertainment Expo.
That's right,
MegaCon.
Yes, I was gonna say it was the Calgary one. That's what I meant, not Gen Con, Calgary, because I saw Mike had posted.
And I got these in Reno.
Let's see inside Dave's box.
Just me, Christian.
Ooh. Pretty.
Ooh.
The screen doesn't show it off quite very well, but it's a nice deep bronze.
Okay.
Pull out the D20. It's just ever so slightly bigger than I thought it was going to.
They look big.
Dude, let me just see if I can.
Dave's shiny box.
They look so lovely, but unfortunately, I gotta pop out. But it has been such a blast hanging with everybody.
No.
Gotcha, Nico. Go ahead and give your shout outs, my friend. Go ahead.
You guys can check me out every Saturday, Sunday, and sometimes during the week here on X's for Show on YouTube. That's youtube.com/X's for Show, and on Twitter, Instagram, and all those places. You can also check me out on Instagram, Twitter, everywhere at Nico Action. That's NICOACTION. And just warning, if you check out like my social media, it's a lot of flexing and shirtlessness. So just heads up.
I do follow Nico. That's what's scary. It's like, look at my arms. Look at my muscles. What was that?
N is for muscles. X is for show.
I like being here.
What was that Matt Smith movie that he tried that failed miserably? But the trailer was, look at my muscles. Look at my muscles. That's all he said during the trailer. Look at my muscles. Look at my muscles.
I actually think I missed that one. I just remember him being like super naked in American Psycho the musical.
Oh God.
Yeah.
So check out Nico and Kevo, both on Husbands Talking More or Less. The link is in the description below, whether you're in Facebook, YouTube. Check out on, and thank you guys so much there. X is for show.
Thanks, guys.
No, thank you there. Let's bring, speaking of which, let's bring
So here's the D20.
I was gonna say I'm
Go.
pulling another one, but it's kind of hard to. Yes, I was gonna say mine's. Yeah.
A regular size one, and here is a metal die from Die Hard dice.
I like the size of Die Hards.
Yeah, so that's the same size as everything else.
Yeah.
It's a little bit bigger now, and then we got the D4 here, which
honestly, though, the size of it being a little bit bigger works. It plays well with the fact that yes, it is metal, and that they had to deboss and put that kind of gravoxide kind of coating, so you get that blackened kind of feel to it. So I could see going a little bit bigger. You get to see the details of that font as well.
Exactly. Like here's the D4. It's the same.
Okay.
I mean, that's a caltrop. That's gonna kill you.
It's like, and your table's broken.
Anyway, that was my laptop that it landed on.
And your laptop screen's gone.
So there's your D10s. You can see we got some nice little nice texturing inside.
I like how it's the bottom of it, instead of it just being a straight up point, it's got that curve.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, instead of that one where I'm used to them being either pointed, and it's got that nice little curve to it instead.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's definitely bigger.
The 10 is a bit bigger. Let's take a look at the 6, which I think is about the right same size. That's an oversized. I'm not gonna use that's a Vegas dice. Let's not use that. It's ever so slightly bigger.
It's just just slightly.
Not much. Flip that to a side that's solid.
Mm-hmm.
And then we've got our D8s. Pull out a D8.
Dave, when you're looking for dice, what are you looking for? Is there anything specific? Is it like the metal, or is it like the eclecticness?
That's different with the circle.
This one?
Yeah.
This I think I got from Free RPG Day at some
Okay.
point. I want to say Q Workshop, but I'm not really sure.
That's very unique for a die.
Mhm.
Having that circle in that and not just a round. Sorry.
Yeah, no. Go ahead. Go. Gosh. Is it because they are fun?
He says Dave should work on QVC.
Yes.
And that Mark Robinson said that he misses his D100 single die. What the hell? What was that? The size of a freaking what?
Bowling ball.
Bowling? I'll say it's gonna be huge. Ooh.
So these are I'm pretty sure I picked these up during Free RPG Day at some point.
The circle in it gives me this it's just a different type of vibe. I don't want to say it's like an Art Nouveau, but it just has a different style to it.
And gives it a little
bit. It feels.
It does have a Nouveau kind of, where like the little details in it that you would see in a frame.
It feels Middle Eastern to me. I don't know why. It's.
I can see that too.
I can see that, yeah.
I mean, honestly, that's where all of our numbers came from. They're Middle Eastern. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's
your D12.
I don't know if you heard me earlier, Dave. When you go around for dice, is there something in particular that you're looking for? Is it like the thickness or the art or something, or is there
a little
metal?
To me, your dice are as much your character as character. That's something I've always done. If I'm playing, a diminutive character, I'm gonna grab myself, tiny dice. I mean, this is a set of tiny dice for other stuff, but tiny dice. If I was gonna be doing, this would be a very, very Slytherin evil magicians type.
Yes,
right. It slithered out of those caves.
It did. I have a bunch of Christmas dice. I have an entire bag full of Christmas themed dice that I pull out once a year, and most of them are some of them are just red and green.
Andrew puts a very good point. They should feel good in your hand.
Yeah,
they really should.
I was like, these do. I mean, if I compare weight, this has some good heft. They both have good heft to it. This one actually does have more because it is bigger.
Yeah.
But when I first pulled it out, I actually expected it to feel bigger yet, like heavier yet. But these have a good feel. I don't do a lot of metal dice, because they are kind of clunky and you have to be a little bit more careful with them.
Especially if you're using a glass top table.
Yeah,
it gets loud.
Yeah, exactly. Like even if I rolled it, let's see if you can hear it on my table.
Yep.
I mean, the second half of that is I've got a big, thick neoprene mat under my laptop. Yeah. This is the other one. This is that I did pick up. This was the Christmas one.
Wait, what? Okay, how does that work?
There's the wee arrow.
Spin that wheel.
Mm-hmm.
There's a little arrow right there.
Ew.
If you didn't, or you could just go spin. I want that. Whatever that was a 5. So that was really adorable.
Okay, that is cool.
And they did have several different colors, but I wanted to go with the traditional. They had a red and gold one that was really nice, but I'm like, no, I want the traditional Christmassy one to go with all of my my Christmassy goodness. And I love the box that it came in.
Ooh, I like that. That's a good package design.
Mark
It was an ornament itself. That's very good.
Yeah.
Because
Mark
ornament
Robinson
/ its own bag.
Smallest dice, my smallest dice I use is a 2mm cube I use for stats with Magic Gathering.
That's tiny.
Do I have one? I used to have some that are that small. That I usually use, and I don't know if I have them in any of my sets right currently.
Yay!
Okay.
Definitely enough. I have a ton of dice I've been using by that I will drill holes in, so that at least the 20 is more shown off. And I've been using them for charms and tea infusers.
There's a tiny one.
Ooh, itty bitty baby! I would lose that thing so quick.
Right.
I'd be like, okay, roll, and I don't know where it went. The cat was
What I also really liked about this when I pulled it out. A lot of companies will throw their logo on like the 20.
Oh, boo! I don't want that. Sorry,
Yeah.
sorry, guys.
Not all of them, but like when you get into some of the fancier, especially ones that they tend to give away as something.
Yeah, because they want, I get that you want to put your mark on them somehow so that people know that it's manufactured by you. But there's times where you can pick up a Chess X dice and know that those are theirs.
Yeah.
For the giant size.
I have more than a few dice.
What? No.
Of different types. So.
What's your favorite? Which one is your favorite? Like, what's your go-to?
Ooh. Again, it all depends on what I'm playing, but I really do like the Die Hard dice ones.
Those ones are cool.
Just because these are really nice. I love my Christmas ones. I have some. They're fun because I break those out every Christmas because I do all those Christmas reviews.
Do
and holiday reviews.
You know how to do it.
Hanky.
What she said.
These are some mice dice.
They're cheese. I think those are adorable.
These came with the Adventure Presents Tiny in the Tower adventure, which is a magazine style adventure. I backed it on Kickstarter at a much higher level than I would, so I could get these dice sent to me from the UK. I like I said, what my favorite die will very much determine or depend on what I'm playing. If I got a paladin, I might play white ones. If I've got goblins, I've got these little green ones with some funky writing. I play a lot of goblins. I like playing goblins.
Show those white ones again. How well can you actually see those?
Actually,
like the numbers.
Let me grab another one here. So they're pearlized color.
Okay.
Okay. Because when you from far away, it was like the camera wasn't
far away. It was a little bit wonky.
So I was like, nope.
Yeah, they're actually quite good. And that is something that's important. Like if I look at these, this was a cream soda or orange pop one. That doesn't.
It looks like candy. It really looks like candy.
This is ice cream.
I had to cross my eyes to see that 3.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. This one was not one of their more popular designs.
Yeah, the color needs to be.
That. I've got a great. I've got a great pan flag color set. I've got a candy cane set.
Mm-hmm.
And this one was same problem. It's actually shows up surprisingly good
on camera. It looks. Oh, now I see that one part where it's clear.
Yeah, but this is one of the Free RPG Day branded dice, which you see previous statement. If sometimes you get a logo on there.
That's what I was wondering what the heck that was. I'm like, what is wrong with that?
Yeah, that is a very small. Let's see if I got a bigger version of that logo. The new Free RPG Day. If you go to my YouTube channel, you can see my box opening of Free RPG Day. I'm really excited for that this year. They moved it back. It was usually in May. They moved it back to June. And I have to figure. Haven't been in contact with my friendly local gaming store that has been sponsoring those videos the last couple of years to see if they think they're going to get the products early.
Yeah.
Based on because they moved it fairly late, so I don't know if that was entirely a production thing, or if that was partly a not production thing and just other factors. I can't remember, so I don't know. I'm hoping they will get stuff earlier, and I can go up into Edmonton and film that box opening ahead of time, and so I can be not in Edmonton the week, because that happens on a Friday, and it's a really busy weekend, and yeah. But it is a lot of fun. You get a lot if you're familiar with Free Comic Book Day.
Yeah, I'll say that's here Saturday.
Yeah,
this Saturday.
And that might actually be why they moved it, is because they were so close. That might have been what it was, that they were so close together. But Free Comic Book Day is comics. Free RPG Day is role-playing games.
Okay.
And so you can get
which most comic shops should be able to double dip that. Really?
Oh yeah. They just wouldn't want to do them necessarily. I've got this.
Not the same day. He's like, no, Commerce, come on.
All up, but I've got
people.
Right, so I want to go. Here's a Pathfinder one. So you'll get a lot of these little. It's just very, very short adventure.
Mm-hmm.
Some fun art. This is a fistful of flowers.
Nah, instead of dollars.
Yeah, so there's and you can get, depending on the company, they've got dice. Some give out dice, some give out adventures. Some give out some ridiculously huge stuff. I got one year.
Promotional materials.
Yes,
my
exactly.
old friend.
Yes. So, serious dice. This was a
serious dice.
Do I have anything there? I do have.
Oh wow, that's a really cool box.
Yeah, and it's got magnets.
Okay, so that way it actually closes. Because I'm like, it's got the lip, but how do you make sure that it stays nice and sealed? Oh, okay. Again, if you got like a resin die set in there,
yeah,
you don't have to worry about it popping open.
Yeah, what do we got? This is from
It's now show and tell, y'all.
Yep. Whiz Kids, the Warlock tile. So this is you literally put together a 3D thing with walls and whatnot. Scott.
Oh, I was about to say, I'm like, did you start painting that, or is that supposed to be?
No, this is all pre-painted.
Okay, so let's show off either
together.
Blood or something.
I'm not putting it all together. Yeah, it's walls.
A murder has
available. And this one came with little kobolds.
Now it's Clue, huh? Oh, kobolds.
Little kobold standees.
Hate kobolds.
I love them. They're not as good as goblins, but they're fun. And that's the new thing with the Pathfinder Free RPG Day ones, is they've been for the first year they did 4 or 5 goblin adventures, but now they made goblins a core race in the game, so anyone can play it. And now their Free RPG Day stuff is kobolds, and it's fun.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so that's my opinion on dice. What have you got? What do you get? I'm not the superstitious dice roller, but they really are a character, just to bring it back around.
Right there, I really like the fact the way this is all set up, so it looks like Eccleston's got his own little box at the bottom.
Right? Yeah. I assume that that Kevin was also wandered off, but along with Nico. But yeah, no, he does such good work on this.
Yes, they're amazing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So yeah, but that's what I got, and I am rambling because I'm just so
tired.
No, that's fine. We're at the end.
Yeah, I don't know what my next convention is. I think it's Tampa Bay Comic-Con. I'm not sure if I have anything else before that. You know, it's that fun after you do a convention, you have like that post-convention kind of thing or a little bit of a depression. You're like, man, I want to go back and do another one. What's the next one I can sign up for? It's like, well, it's too late to do that now, unless they desperately need vendors.
Yep.
I'm usually looking for little cons occasionally. It's like I'll do a one day just so I can get the feel of it. Dan Holyfield says if he drops anything, it'll be a dice aster.
Nah, I will say I'm never going to do a convention, and then what I did this last time between MegaCon and London, I'm not. Nope, we're not doing that again.
I
That
will.
was
I
terrible.
can at least say this for our next coming convention. We are working out the logistics. We will not be appearing physically at Conquesturbris, but we are working
Unless I
with the
just
team.
show up and then
Unless
subvert
Melanie.
Christian.
I just dropped my dice.
Ah, disaster. Dice-aster.
Disaster.
Dice-aster.
That's what she
Thanks,
said.
Dan. You dink. I was zipping up my bag and, and now I got dice all over the floor.
I'll put it this way: instead of saying that, we are planning in some form or fashion to be at Conquesturbris, whether it be virtual or in physical form. We don't know as of yet, but plan on if you're going to be at Conquesturbris. We are working out something to be there. So technically, that's our next convention. And really, we don't have anything planned in the summer, but just keep an eye out on our Facebook page and our YouTube channel. Want to give a special
trying
thank.
for Eli
I'll be at Origins.
Oh, I'm gonna sneeze.
I want an LIU, but it's just expensive as heck.
Yeah, I'll be at Origins
Oh.
Game Fair.
Sneeze.
I sneezed myself out of the frame.
Sneeze. Please don't forget to check out Mackenzie Floor on her Twitch channel. For those of you, twitch.tv/Mackenzie Floor, Dave Chapman and the rathole.ca, and also on his YouTube channel. Nick Smith over at the Cosmic Mask, and check it out because we've got articles in there, and hopefully we'll have future articles soon. And all the way at the end is Melanie Dean on the Instagram Pieces of Mail. You can check out all the new stuff that she's.
When does the next issue come out? Yeah.
You know, I'll put this.
It's a good question. Yeah.
There you
Yeah.
No.
We have a summer issue
you know.
coming out. I'll put it as vague as that. Summertime.
Okay.
We'll work on something out there.
Yeah.
Everyone else, please don't forget to say goodbye on the way out in the chats. Thank you so much for joining us. If any, unless we have something changes or nothing, our next review is going to be The Long Game, featuring, of course, the appearance of Simon Pegg as the editor in this episode. And I'm not going to say too much because we're going to be giving a review next week unless something changes or somebody comes on. Of course, we are working with schedules for people who work at Doctor Who currently and people who've been on the show to see if we can grab them on the show. So that might change things, or if something comes up news-wise, we will let you know. On behalf of everybody here at the Legend of the Traveling TARDIS, please continue to stay safe out there because we want to see you wherever convention, virtually or physically, we see Andrew reality too.
Not to mention I make up in my head and attend all the time when I'm in depressing, going, I just want to show me Artist Alley again.
Andrew says, do you think, we'll make this the last thing, do you think more Big Finish stories should be adopted to TV shows? Yes. Especially now that Beep the Meep has been rumored that he's going to be, why not? I think especially now they should have their day in the sunshine. They should get Big Finish writers on the show. So
I want Irish Wild Time in real life.
Yep.
I'm hoping that RTD and his want of making this a whole multiverse and blah blah blah, really fleshing everything out. He takes a page out of the John Favreau school of I'm making Star Wars now, and I'm gonna take all these little tiny bits and just slowly make them canon, even if they're just little nods to little thing. Whether it was a toy Kenner put out long ago and didn't have anything to do with anything, and now suddenly it's a real vehicle. I'm hoping that's why we saw Beep the Meep all of a sudden. It's like that. I'm hoping those kind of little nuances start trickling in. So. Apparently, Christian left.
All right.
So while he's gone,
so do we want to? Anyone else have anything last to say before we'll just boot Christian right out because he's not there, and we were going to end the show anyway or so.
So we could do this quick question of here's a question for the panel. When did you think that incineration of the Doctor was incarnation?
Yeah.
No, incineration. Just go with it.
When do you think the incineration of the Doctor was first to go dark? So when he incinerated, there we go. He incinerated, he regenerated. There we go. When was it the first time he ever went dark? I'm gonna go with. I don't know my 1, 2, 3. I was
for me
to the Daleks, but he could have done beforehand.
Are you talking about New Who or Old Who? Because I would think the first time I seen him really go dark was Deadly Assassin.
Maybe, yeah.
that was the first time, because that episode was really, really dark, especially for kids around that time. And some of the stuff that I will thank whoever wrote that episode. Thanks to that, I have a fear of clowns, especially ones in the ground. So I'm just like, yeah, that would be it. Definitely, we got to go ahead and run, but let's go ahead and anybody who has any final thoughts or anything before we go.
No.
All right,
I think we're good.
all right, well, folks, we're going to go ahead and end the show. Thank you so much for joining us. Please stay safe out there, and just continue to become part of the legend. Tony, take us out.